Hello, Yu-Gi-Oh players, and welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! Business Casual. I'm your host, the RJB0. So, today is the day that we have all been waiting for, the conclusion of the Chameleon Challenge. So, the way this is going to work is I am going to use random.org off to the side over here in order to choose the two winners for the booster pack prizes, both the 4-pack winners and the top 8 2-pack winners. But first, I am going to go down my list of top 8 decks that were entered that were my favorite for various reasons. Now, this was really difficult to choose. Basically, every deck that I got was awesome in its own way. I didn't find one that, when I played around with it, I didn't like. They just all had their various ways of using Chameleon, and the ones I chose were a combination of ones that I thought were really creative, were really new, things I didn't think of, but I think I should have thought of, and the ones that are a little more practical or competitive. So I tried to get a little mix of those, and I chose my favorite. So let's go down the list. First, we have Dekhi Psychics. I need to actually go back to my inbox page in order to get you guys these deck lists. There we go. Let's talk about Dekhi Psychics. So, Dekhi Psychics has 2 Elder of the Six Samurai, 1 Esper Girl, 3 Goblinberg, 1 Grand Soil, the Elemental Lord, of course, the 3 Masked Chameleons right there, 2 Maxis, 2 Psychic Commanders, 1 Psychic Jumper, 2 Redox, Dragon Ruler of whatever the hell it is, and then 3 Serene Psychic Witch, and then 3 Silent Psychic Wizard. Pretty solid monster lineup. I know that Silent Psychic Wizard, I'm pretty sure Elder of the Six Samurai, and Goblinberg are all targets for Chameleon, allowing him to go for his various extra deck cards down here. And of course, Grand Soil is usually the center of Psychic decks, and Redox just adds extra speed to it. It looks pretty solid for me. I'm not entirely sure about the motivation behind having Elder of the Six Samurai in here, other than he makes it easier to go for like Naturia Beast or Barkion, but it seems like an interesting choice, particularly since he's a target for Chameleon. Next, we have the spell lineup. Now, this is one of the reasons why I really liked this version. He uses 3 Breath of the Valiant. Now, I don't know how many of you guys watched my Ghost Trick review on Shadow Specters, but I started off by talking about how ridiculous the wording for Breath of the Valiant was on the wiki, and how it was better on DN and DevPro, because it could only be used while you have multiple kinds of extra deck / ritual cards on the board, and you only got effects for it based on the number of different types you had on the board anyway. But this deck can actually use it because it can create Xyz monsters, Synchro monsters, and Fusion monsters and put them all on the board in the same turn because of Miracle Synchro Fusion. Then, of course, you've got 1 Dark Hole, 3 E-Telly, which is pretty standard for a Psychic deck, 1 Foolish Burial to speed up those Masked Chameleon plays, double MST, 3 Pot of Duality, and a Scapegoat. Our extra deck cards are double Ultimate Axon Kicker, 1 Black Rose Dragon, Crimson Blader, the Psychic Behemoth, Psycho Behemoth, what's-his-face, Magical Android, 1 Naturia Barkion, 1 Naturia Beast, 1 Psychic Life Chancer, 1 Scrap Dragon, 1 Stardust, 1 Thought Ruler, and then a King Feral Imp, which you can make with the Goblinbergs and the Silent Psychic Wizards, Lavalval Chain, and a Maestroke, the Symphony Djinn. So this definitely does fulfill all of the requirements for the challenge, and it caught my eye because of its use of Breath of the Valiant, and because I just kind of like Psychics, and I enjoy the fact that it used multiple targets for Chameleon that actually fit into the deck to make it work better. So that is Dekhi's. This is going to be a decently long video because I'm going through all these lists. So next we have Solo Hard Flips, Battle Boxers. Let's see if I can find him. There he is. So I don't actually have a DN picture for this guy, but I do have his deck list. This is Chameleon Boxers, and he does have a little explanation at the bottom. You've got your Blasters, Dragon Ruler of Infernos, 2 of them, 3 Battle Boxer Switch Hitters, 3 Battle Boxer Headgeared, 3 Battle Boxer Glassjaw, 2 Battle Boxer Spars, 2 Battle Boxer Counterpunch, 2 Photon Thrasher, and 3 Masked Chameleon. Now, there are a number of Mass Chameleon targets in here, not the least of which are Photon Thrasher and Battle and Boxer Headgear, or not Headgeared, Glassjaw. And this deck can actually go for things like Lead Yoke, which is the basis of the Battle and Boxer deck, while also being able to pull out the Chameleon with King Feral Imp if you want to. And it sets up a lot of really cool plays, and I think that this is actually a really good build for Battle and Boxers that may make it have a little more power and a little more consistency and a few more follow-up plays that it wouldn't have had otherwise. So I really like this monster lineup, and I think it could actually be extrapolated into people building Battle and Boxers in the future. So I think that's pretty cool. Then we have our spells, of course, Rhoda, 1 Foolish, 1 Dark Hole, 3 MST, 3 Lance, 3 Duality. Then 2 Fiendish Chain, 1 Solemn Warning, 1 Compulse, 1 Bottomless, 1 Torrential, 1 Mirror Force, and 2 D-Prisons. Next you have your extra deck, which of course has the 3 Battle and Boxer Lead Yokes, which is one of the most annoying cards in the game right now. And then 1 Laval Chain, 1 Gaga Cowboy, 1 Blader Armor Ninja, 1 Excalibur, 1 Maestroke, 1 King of the Feral Imps, 1 Photon Butterfly, 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Stardust Dragon, 1 Scrap Dragon, 1 Crimson Blader, and 1 Thought Ruler Archfiend. Now the Scrap Dragon, Stardust Dragon, Crimson Blader, and Thought Ruler Archfiend kind of look like they're a pretty staple lineup in the extra deck for this, for the Mass Chameleon Challenge, which I think is absolutely warranted. I don't even really use a Stardust Dragon anymore, but I think that it's an interesting choice and it's perfectly valid. So I liked this build particularly because it includes Battle and Boxers doing what they do best while being able to utilize Mass Chameleon effectively. It actually has a significant degree of efficiency, and it could possibly be viable on a scale outside, of course, of the Chameleon Challenge, and it could be even a locals winning deck. I generally don't think of Battle and Boxers as topping regionals, so I wouldn't go quite that far, but this could definitely be used outside of this challenge. Who is our next top 8 contender? We have JTI Keys Summoner Monk. Let's see. Mass Chameleon. And I called that kind of for lack of a better name, because this is just a it's not quite just Summoner Monk, seeing as you only have 2 Summoner Monks, but you can kind of see where this is going. So you've got your 1 BLS, your double Photon Thrasher, your 3 Mass Chameleon, of course, your 3 Star Drawings, 2 Goblinbergs, 1 Honest, triple Kagitokage, double Summoner Monk, of course, 1 Swift Scarecrow, 3 Effect Veiler. So this monster lineup appears to really be based around getting fast rank 4 Xyz monsters out there, which you can do by way of things like Star Drawing and Photon Thrasher and Kagitokage and Goblinberg. Now all of these cards seem to be focused around putting Star Drawing on the board and getting that extra draw off of summoning the Xyz monster, and then you can use that King of the Feral Imps in order to get your Mass Chameleon out. The same works for Summoner Monk. All of these things seem to be based around making that strategy work. Now you've got a few targets for your Mass Chameleon, and those are of course your Photon Thrashers, and then you've got your Goblinbergs. I'm not sure if any of the other ones are targets for Mass Chameleon, but really all in all that should be enough, especially since you've got so much draw power in this deck. And not to mention the fact that you've got Swift Scarecrow, which is one of the best Chameleon targets out there, because it can go for both Armades and Naturia Beast. So next let's go down the spell lineup. You've got of course 1 Rhoda, 1 Mind Control, a Dark Hole, triple Upstart Goblin over Dualities, which I think is interesting, since it doesn't interfere with the rest of the deck's strategy and allows you to thin down your deck a lot more effectively. Then you've got 1 Foolish Burial in order to get a target for your Mass Chameleons in, and then you've got 1 Pot of Duplicity, since there are a lot of different types in here. It makes a lot of sense for recycling power. Then you've got double MST, 1 Book of Moon, triple Forbidden Lance, which seems to be extremely common in this contest. And it makes sense since you'd be trying to protect your monsters, your big plays, from getting hit. And then you've got 1 Bottomless for your trap lineup, double Mirror Force, 1 Compulse, and 1 Solemn Warning. The extra deck is Jeweled Red Dragon Archfiend, 1 Scrap Dragon, 1 Stardust Radiance, 1 Armades, 1 Naturia Beast, an Ally of Justice Cataster, one Constellar Omega, which you can make with Photon Thrasher and Star Drawing, double King of the Feral Imps, which is probably the most important card to this deck since it can grab both Kage and your Masked Chameleons from the deck. You've got one Black Ship of Corn, one Diamond Dyer, one Maestroke, one Gemnite Pearl, and a Gaga Cowboy. So that is that deck. I just thought it was extremely practical. It had a very clear strategy, and it made a lot of sense to me, and it looks like it would be a lot of fun to run. Next, we have Bruno Escobar's Chalenge, or however you pronounce that. This one I chose because it was just simply the one that used the card I was least expecting to see. Now, this isn't a particularly competitive deck, mind you, but it used a card that I haven't seen in ages. Like, I've never actually seen it being used in a deck before, and it has a lot of cool things that you can do with it. So first, you've got your monster lineup, which is 2 Blue Eyes, 3 of the Gemnite Garnet, I believe that is, 3, what's his face? Blazing Impachi, that's his name. 3, Jerry Beans Man. There was another deck that used Jerry Beans Man, but I happen to like this deck a little better because of Chuchulain, or Suchulain, or however you pronounce that. Anyway, but it's Jerry Beans Man. What isn't there to love? And then you've got your 3 Masked Chameleon. Now you have 9 Masked Chameleon targets in here, which is pretty darn cool. So then you also have your 3 Manju of the 10,000 Hands, which allows you to get your 3 Chuchulain from your deck, or one of 2, what's its futs? What's it called? Yes, thank you. Thank you, Finnegan. That was extremely helpful. Anyway, your Ritual. Anyway, then you have 1 Rescue Rabbit. Since you have so many vanillas, you might as well run Rescue Rabbit. And that is the monster lineup. So it appears that the point of this deck is to put Chuchulain on the board, which can utilize the normal monsters that you have in your grave, like Blue Eyes and stuff, to give it massive numbers of attack points, and then just kind of blow over your opponent's monsters, and when you're done with that, you've got your Masked Chameleons all lined up. You can also use Faustian Bargain to set up Chameleon plays. So there are not Chameleon plays, but totally forgot what it's called. Anyway, the King of the Feral Imp plays. That's what it's called. Anyway, spell lineup. You've got 1 Dark Hole, double Faustian Bargain, 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Preparation of Rites, 2 of the Ritual, 2 Advanced Ritual Art, since you've got so many normal monsters in your deck, 1 MST, double Forbidden Lance, double, what's it called? Hand Destruction, 1 Return from the Different Dimensions, since you're going to be banishing a lot of cards with Chuchulain, and then you have 1 Bottomless, double Mirror Force, and 1 Compulsory. So I just thought that that was a really fun deck. It used a card that I didn't expect, and it amused me that it used both Blazing Impachi and Jerry Beans Man, and could still effectively use your Masked Chameleon, so I thought that was really cool. And then next, we have Twerkatron's Naturia. This is going to be a long video, I'm sorry. So, you've got triple Redox, and then of course your 3 Masked Chameleon. Then you've got 3 Naturia Cliff, 2 Naturia Meron, and you've got 2 Cosmo Beat, you've got 2 Max C, you've got 3 Sunflowers, 2 Sweet Corns, 3 Naturia Cherries, 2 Naturia Ladybugs, and then double Veiler. Now I just like the Naturia engine in general. The fact that Cosmo Beat is in here allows you to set up things like Barkion and Beast plays during your end phase. Your Masked Chameleon makes those Barkion Beast plays even easier when going for things like Sunflower or Ladybug. The Naturia Meron is an extra draw. There are just a lot of cool things, and I just happen to really like Naturias. I just like them. I'm sorry that their synchros tend to only be used in other decks, because Naturias are entertaining. Naturia Cliff is one of the more obnoxious searching cards there are. So, there you go. Then you've got 1 Dark Hole and triple MST. That's the only spell lineup, which I also thought was interesting. Then 1 Bottomless, double Threatening Roar, double Mirror Force, and of course Threatening Roar allows you to keep that Marin on the board so that you can use its effect later. 1 Torrential Tribute, double D Prison, 1 Compulsory, and 1 Solemn Warning. And then you've got a pretty standard spell and trap lineup in the, extra deck monster lineup in, of course, the extra deck. It can go for Star Eater since you've got that Red Ox in there. And there are just a lot of cool things that you can do with Naturias, and I liked seeing Naturias around, and especially since it uses some of those more obscure Naturia monsters, like, what's its futs? Sunflower and Ladybug. Just kind of cool, and I figured I should show that one off. Then we've got one of my favorites that I saw. This is probably the one that I saw coming the least, is Vizzolar's Ubel. And I thought this was especially cool. So here we have a pretty interesting Ubel deck. It uses 1 Armageddon Knight, double Dark Grepher, triple Masked Chameleon, triple what's its futs, Phantom of Chaos, double Summoner Monk, which allows you to get out those chameleons, and also allows you to go for the King Feral Imp plays. Then you've got your 3 Ubels, and then 1 Ubel Terror Incarnate, and 1 Ubel Ultimate Nightmare. So clearly, the things you do with this deck are you put your Ubels or your Phantom of Chaoses in the graveyard with Armageddon Knight and Dark Grepher. And you can also go for those King of the Pharaoh Imp plays. You use Summoner Monk to summon both these, and you can also summon Phantom of Chaos with it. And the thing you can do is you can summon Phantom of Chaos with Masked Chameleon to get a level 8 Synchro, or you can summon one of your Ubels from the graveyard, and when that Ubel gets destroyed, it still gets its effect, since Masked Chameleon will no longer have jurisdiction on it. So then you can summon that Terror Incarnate or Ultimate Nightmare from your deck. So, or your Terror Incarnate, then your Ultimate Nightmare. And you can also do that by summoning the Terror Incarnate from the grave. So I thought that was pretty cool. Then you've got your spell cards, of course, 1 Allure of Darkness, 2 a Traffic Control, which I thought was odd, but pretty interesting. Triple Black Garden. This caught me off guard, but it really makes sense. Since you're using Ubels, you aren't really worried about your own attack points. The only things you have to worry about with that are, like, your Chameleon plays, but by that time your opponent's probably going to have been trying to get rid of that Black Garden anyway. Then you've got Dark Hole, Foolish Burial, of course, 1 Lance, Triple Duality, 1 Rhoda, to help you get the Greffers and Armageddon Knights, and then double Terraforming in order to make sure that you get that Black Garden to your hand, then triple Call of the Haunted, since it can set off Ubel, double Needle Sealing. Then you've got double Pollinosis, which can sack your Black Garden tokens, your Rose tokens, in order to negate basically anything, 1 Safe Zone, and a Solemn Warning. The only thing I would have changed about this deck is to add more of at least the Terror Incarnate, just because you can get it out so easily, since you have so much recycling of Ubel, and you can use Call of the Haunted to get Ubel's effect. I just don't see why not, but, you know, that was his call. And I thought it was really cool to use Ubels in this way, because I haven't seen Ubels in the meta for quite a long time. So I thought that was really cool, and I really enjoyed seeing that deck, and I imagine it would be a lot of fun to play around with. Next, we have Killer Cubivorifies Archfiends. So this basically uses the Archfiend monsters, since a few of them have 0 defense, and basically turbos them into the graveyard, and then it uses things like Archfiend's Roar in order to get them back on the board, and then you can use it with Masked Chameleon in order to get off some plays. So first you have your 1 Archfiend Emperor, the first Lord of Horror, 1 Archfiend General, 2 Archfiend Cavalry, double Stygian Street Patrol, 3 Masked Chameleon, 1 Trance Archfiend, 3 Armageddon Knight, 3 Kagetokage, 2 Archfiend Eris, 1 Allure of Darkness, Reinforcement of the Army, Dark Hole, Foolish Burial, Book of Moon, Pandemonium. Then you've got 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, 2 Mirror Force, 1 Torrential Tribute, 1 Eradicator Epidemic Virus, 3 Archfiend's Roar, 1 Compulsory Evac Device, 3 Safe Zone, 3 Fiendish Chain, and 1 Solemn Warning. Then you've got your extra deck, 1 Crimson Blader, Scrap Dragons, Colossal Fighter, Thought Ruler, Stardust Dragon, Scrap Archfiend, Black Rose Dragon, Ancient Fairy Dragon, number 66, Master Key, Beetle, King of the Feral Imps, Diamond Dire Wolf, Maestroke the Symphony Djinn, and Laval Chain. So the reason why I chose this deck to be in the top 8 was because this is actually one of the more competitive decks. Combining Kage Tokage with all the Archfiend monsters allows you to go for that King of the Feral Imps play really easily. And since Archfiends have a lot of really cool powers, especially Archfiend Emperor, which can just it's basically another Hyperion, but with 3,000 attack points. And you've got General and Cavalry, which are both pretty good cards. Stygian Street Patrol allows you to get out your monsters a lot more easily. And just a lot of really easy ways of getting big monsters on the board, basically for free. So I really enjoyed that deck. I thought that it was actually decently competitive. Once again, could probably get first on a local scale. I'm sorry, this video is going to get really long, and I might cut it into 2 pieces. So I have my one final entry, which is the DD Duelists Umbral Horrors. Let's see if I can find them. There they are. So they use 3 Kage Tokage, 3 Masked Chameleon, 2 Mystic Tomato, 2 Summoner Monk, 3 Umbral Horror Ghoul, 3 Umbral Horror Unform, 2 Umbral Horror Wisp, and then 1 Allure of Darkness, 1 Dark Hole, 2 Lance, 2 MST, 2 Pot of Duality, 1 Rank Up Magic Variance Force, 1 Rank Up Magic Numeron Force, and 2 Reoccurring Nightmare. Then you have 1 Compulsory, 2 Fiendish Chain, 1 Mirror Force, 1 Number Wall, 1 Safe Zone, 2 7 Tools, 1 Warning, 1 Torrential. I really liked this deck because it utilizes number cards, which is really cool. Not a whole lot of decks can do that, and you can also actually make Umbral Horrors work with this deck, since that those Kage Tokages really combine well with them in order to make those King of the Feral Imp plays. You can also make numbers plays, which you can then rank up for even, of course, better ones, like Umbral Horror Masquerade. And I don't know, I'd never seen a deck that really effectively used things like Rank Up Magic Numeron's Force. You can use Reoccurring Nightmare really well, and I just kind of liked Umbral Horrors when I first saw them. So I don't have a whole lot of rhyme or reason for choosing this deck, but I just enjoyed it quite a bit. So that is the top 8. I suppose I will let you get to another video in order to... you know what, why don't I just do it right now? So let's hit up those prizes. So let's start with the 4-pack prize. It will be 1 out of 12. Obviously, this isn't all of the entries here, but there were some people who entered who were living outside of the United States, and since I can't ship outside of the United States, they asked not to be put in for the prize. So let's go to random.org and go for 12. And then generate a number. So our first winner of the 4-packs is Yugi514. So congratulations. Send me a PM with your address and what pack you want me to send you. And I will send you 4 packs of whichever of those packs, either Abyss Rising, Cosmo Blazer, Lord of Tachyon Galaxy, or Judgment of the Light, will be headed your way. Now let's go for the top 8. There are a couple of them in here that asked not to be entered for the prizes since they're outside of the U.S., and I'll just regenerate if I choose one of them. So we get number 6, which is Vizolars. And by the way, really? Mac Daddy, Tyler? Anyway, sorry, that bothered me. It didn't really bother me. I just thought it was funny. That's a lot of X's and randomly capitalized letters. So, Vizolar. Congratulations, you've won the 2 packs for top 8. So congratulations to the winners of the contest. Thank you guys for watching all of this way. I really wanted to show off all these decks. I will have links to all the winners or the top 8's channels, and of course, Yugi514's channel as well, since he won the 4 packs. And I will also have a link to Andrew Cusinelli, also known as the guy who plays Salvo's video, just because it's probably the more entertaining of the entries that I got. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. If you didn't, let me know why. And then subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh videos, including future challenges. I've already got an entire list of ones that I want to do. And I hope to see your entries later. Meanwhile, thank you guys for watching Yu-Gi-Oh! And Business Casual. I'm your host, the RJB0, and I gotta jet. See you guys.